Ludicrous feed is proudly sponsored by Carloop Data, Koba Car Insurance, and Wallbox EV Chargers. Hey everyone, I'm in the BYD Seal today and I will be doing the very first DC Fast Charge for my Seal. And I'm here at the Allambie Grove EV Chargers. As you can see, it is pretty wet and miserable at the moment, but we'll prove that we can actually charge an EV in the rain. So right up against the curb there, and we'll plug in very shortly. So you can see the auto rain sensing wipers working pretty well there. And just having a look at my state of charge currently, so we've got 16% in the 82.56 kilowatt hour lithium iron phosphate battery remaining, and the odometer is reading 375 kilometers, and that's essentially my first range test because I did pick up the car with 100% state of charge, so that is the amount I have driven with 84% of the battery. So if you work that out with an efficiency of 16.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, then you can expect a full range of about 450 kilometers, which unfortunately is shy of the 570 kilometers advertised range. I will be doing a full highway range test shortly. I've only been driving just mixed use at the moment, just on my local roads and some major roads, but nothing on the freeway just yet. Now, BYD on its website states that you can get 30% to 80% in about 26 minutes. So we're here today to test whether we can replicate that speed somewhat. I know we're down to 16%, but I will be charging to 80% just to see how long it takes. And it's a good test as well, because even though I'm not doing a road trip at the moment, it'll give me an idea of how long I can expect to stop at a charger if I ever do a road trip with this car, and also to give you an idea as well if you ever intend on doing a road trip with the BYD Seal. Okay, so the charge port is on the right hand side of the car, as you can see there, and looks like the top speed that we can get for this charger is 125 kilowatts. Well, that's okay because the top speed of this car is 150 kilowatts, so it's not that much of a compromise. And there are 4 CCS2 plugs, so 2 here and 2 over here as well. There we go. And all spots are actually empty today, so not being iced today, which is great. And it looks like I am the only EV charging here at the moment. Alright, so let's get on with it. Let's open our charge port. There we go. Take the flaps off. 1 and 2. And hop over here to this charger. So let's press this button to start. Connect CCS2 plug to the vehicle. Let's do that. Let's plug right in. Try and do this with one hand. If I can't, I'll just stop the camera. Okay, so we are plugged in. Now the charger says use the app or tap your card below to authenticate. Alright, I don't have my RFID card today, but I can use the app. So there's the app there. Let's go to, here we are, Frictus Forest. Okay, let's press that one. Okay, so we are station ID MS012B. So let's correlate that with the app. So, yep, MS012, that's correct. And we are port B, so let's do that. So payment method is PayPal, and I couldn't select the Seal as my vehicle, so that needs to be updated. I think Evie, if you're watching, I couldn't see any Seal options here. So the closest is the Atto 3 at the moment, so we'll do that. Let's press start charging. Verifying my payment details. Okay, let's sign in. Okay, so it looks like it's good to go. Alright, success. So it's now 12:05. It says you're charging. It says looks like nothing's happening. Don't worry, it takes a minute for us to see your progress. So there we are. Let's look at the screen. 16% state of charge, 110 kilowatts. Let's go see what's happening in the car. And there it is, charging away. It is wet, but it's still charging. Okay, so inside the car, 18% now at 12:06, 1 minute later, and 111 kilowatts. It says 1 hour remaining, but that's to get to 100%. So I just want to charge to 80%. So we'll see how quickly that takes to happen. You can also monitor here as well, the state of charge. I'm just trying to look for a place to set a maximum charge rate. I'm still very new to this car, so I can't quite see anywhere that I can sort of set a maximum speed. This is more for AC charging, this setting here. I'm just playing with it to make sure I'm not missing anything. If anyone is watching who has owned a BYD in the past or is familiar with it, let me know, but I certainly can't see anywhere you can set the maximum state of charge at this point. In which case we will just monitor manually. When it gets to 80%, we will stop. So while we've got some time, it's good in the sense that there are 4 chargers here. That's fantastic, and they can charge 125 kilowatts, which is, for me, anything over 100 is pretty good. That between 100 to 150 kilowatts is fine in terms of speed. But in terms of amenities, like there is a KFC about a 2-minute walk just across the road there that I can see. So if you're desperate for a toilet, that's where you can go. There are some shops as well behind me, and a medical center and a chemist, so it's okay. And in front of me here, I'll just show you, there's like a light industrial area here. So I think during the day it's probably safe enough, but honestly, I probably wouldn't want to come here at night. Doesn't feel super safe, if you know what I mean. There is some lighting there, you probably see a street pole behind me, but yeah, I think after dark it's knowing the area, it's reasonable without being super safe. So just a note. And as you can see, it's raining today, so it's not sheltered. It's one of my pet peeves actually, having DC fast chargers or EV chargers in general that are not sheltered. For a start, number one, you're exposing your expensive assets to the elements all the time. And secondly, it's a bit of a pain as a user to get out there in the rain and start the charging process, particularly because it's not plug and play. As you can see, it takes a little bit of a fiddle by the app. I know it's a bit faster with an RFID card, but still, you've got to get out in the rain. But as you can see, it's charging okay in the rain. All these cables and equipment, they're all insulated and rated, of course, to within safety regulations in Australia. So yeah, it's not a problem charging in the rain from that point of view. Okay, quick score check. About 6 minutes has passed, up to 27%. It's held its charging rate of 111 kilowatts or so I'm pretty happy with that. And then just looking at the app, which is handy if you're going to walk away from the car and have lunch or whatever, or go to the bathroom, you can actually see via the Evie app what your state of charge is, how much energy has been added, 10.382 kilowatt hours, estimated cost so far, $6.23, time elapsed 6 minutes. It'd be nice if they also showed the speed in terms of kilowatts too. That'd be nice, little extra feature. So still the other 3 spots are empty. No one's accompanying me at this point. I suppose in the rain, people aren't as likely to charge. Stay indoors, stay dry. But yeah, I think, apart from the fact that it's not sheltered and the amenities aren't as good as other places, it's not too bad of a location in terms of where it is. So we're in the French's Forest area, which is kind of a nice central spot in the northern beaches, on the way to the beaches or on the way out to Chatswood and the city. All right, quick score check, 33%. So a third of the battery now, and about 9 minutes has elapsed so far. And still keeping its charge rate of 111 kilowatts, so that's good to know. Hasn't dropped off at all. And why am I only topping up to 80%? Well, it's quite a well-known fact now, which I've documented on the channel and other people have as well on other platforms, that after about 80%, the charge rate of an EV generally tends to drop off quite rapidly. That's generally for battery safety. You don't want to charge too fast at the top end of a battery state of charge for safety reasons. So the fastest speed of charging is around 20 to 80%. That's why I personally and others have recommended that on a road trip, you generally try to top up between 20 to 80%. When you get to 80%, then move on to the next charger. That's probably the most efficient way to charge an EV. And also as a courtesy, if you take just as long to charge from 80% to 100% as you do from 20 to 80%, then you're actually taking up another spot that someone else could be charging as well. And currently, resources are scarce and limited. There aren't that many DC fast chargers around on highways. So as a courtesy, I generally will only top up to 100% if there's no one else around waiting. If it's time to go with, say, lunch or a meal, I can sit down. If there are nice amenities around, like a restaurant or cafe, then I'll sit down. If I can see my car ahead of me there, if someone's waiting, then I'll go out and move it for them. But yeah, I generally try to only top to 80% on a road trip for those reasons I mentioned. Okay, so this tip has just popped up. Smart thermal management system of power battery in service. And we're at the 40% state of charge. Now, you're probably wondering, Would it be faster if I say turn the air conditioning off, because I've got the fan running at the moment? So let's just try that for a test. So let's turn the AC off and we'll give it a minute or so. Certainly straight away there's no change to the charging power, and I did this test earlier as well. There's no change at all to the charging rate, staying around that 111, 112 kilowatts. So I think you can safely sit in your vehicle, have the AC running. You're not going to experience too significant a difference in charge, particularly on a day like today when it's raining. There's nothing else to do. I'm just going to sit in the car for a while. Or if it's a hot day and you want to have the AC running to keep you and your passengers cool. So at the halfway mark, 50%, well, halfway for the battery state of charge, probably more than halfway from when we started at 16%. And we are now 17 minutes into the charge. And look, it's still holding its own at 111 kilowatts, has not dropped at all. So that's very good to know. Okay, so I'll just show you around the area. I was just saying before that there's a medical centre there across the road. Then you've got some shops there on the corner, chemist, cafe, Ogalo there as well, Thai, Chinese takeaway. And then there's the Kentucky Fried Chicken there, just across the road, so not far of a walk in case you need a bathroom or you need some chicken. And a quick look at the charger itself. So there, the stats you can see there from this tritium unit. So it's delivering 113 kilowatts. We're only getting 111 kilowatts in the car, so 2 kilowatts of loss from heat, etc. And yeah, that correlates pretty well, 55%, which is what the car is showing. 19 minutes have elapsed, and that's how much energy has been added, 35 kilowatt hours. And what's also interesting is that because we're plugged in, if another car were to plug in, then their max is 75 kilowatts as well. So there is some power sharing going on. So I would assume mine will drop to 75 as well, because in the app it's showing that maximum delivery is 150 kilowatts, and that's shared between these two plugs. Yep, so you can see the plug is wet, and so is part of the charge port of my car, but it's all good. Still connected, still insulated, and still charging away. Okay, another score check, 60%, still getting 111 kilowatts, and about 22 minutes has passed. So I thought I'd share with you some stats from previous road trips, and I'll leave a link to this Google Sheet in the video description below. For example, this Polestar 2 trip I took late in 2023, the average DC charging session time was 31 minutes. This was another Model 3 trip I took as well in 2023 to Canberra, 21-minute average DC charging time. Then this one was an MG4 trip I took in the pre-production MG4, and that was a 31-minute average DC fast charging time. And then this was a Gold Coast trip in the Model 3 rear-wheel drive as well. That was a 26-minute average charge time. And the Model Y, same trip to the Gold Coast, 30-minute average DC fast charging time. So look, I think about 30 minutes is what you can kind of expect, I think, for an EV, or at least a modern EV with a reasonable charging rate. And I think 30 minutes is enough to, go to the bathroom, have a little break. If you've got kids, let them run around a little bit, stretch their legs, stretch your legs, have a drink, have something to eat. You don't have to eat fast food. I know someone's commented on that on my videos before. You can always pack a healthy lunch. No one's forcing you to eat junk food. So, you can probably work a slower charging time compared to filling it with petrol, of course, into your routine, into your road trip, and then it doesn't become so onerous. Okay, so first time I've seen a charging rate drop. I saw it briefly at 92, but now it's at 79 kilowatts. And we're at 66%, so 2/3 of the battery, the overall traction battery, and 12:30, which means that we've been here for 25 minutes. So there's just some results of the first range test I've done, which is just basically from delivery till when I started charging this vehicle. 16.3 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers efficiency and 375 kilometers driven. So like I said, with that kind of efficiency, you can expect a range of 450 kilometers. So we'll see what it's like on future range tests with mixed urban usage as I continue to own this vehicle, as I drive it day to day, just to verify it. And also we'll do some highway range tests as well to see whether there's any change in efficiency. Okay, another score check, 70%. And the charging power is now 79.8, so no change. We've been here for 28 minutes. And I'm starting to hear the cooling system kick in. something's happening. I assume the battery is getting hot at this stage, so the battery management system, as you can see here, smart thermal management system, is in use just to keep the battery nice and cool as we get to the end of the charge. Okay, we're on the home stretch now, 75%, still 80, so keeping its charge right there, and 31 minutes has passed. So what's really interesting is that, like I said before, it takes almost just as long to charge your car from 80% to 100% as it would from anything under 20% to 80%. So there you go, remaining 32 minutes. So we're kind of around that halfway mark, maybe a bit longer still to charge to 80%, but still, you can see how inefficient it is to charge from 80% to 100% if you were on a road trip. Okay, any moment now, we're at 79%, and it's still 80 kilowatts, so, not too bad, still pretty quick. And what are we now? 34 minutes has passed. We plugged in at 12:05 p.m. And, oh, there we go, 80%. And remaining 28 minutes. So, yeah, pretty much almost halfway between 16% to 80%. It took 34 minutes. And then 27 minutes to charge the remaining 20%. So as you can see, it's probably not worth your time to charge the rest of the way to 100% unless you really have time to kill. All right, let's go unplug the car. Okay, so let's press stop. Okay, all the way down. All right, finished. Please return the plug. So let's do that. So I guess the downside to that is that anybody could stop your charge, right? And now my car's unlocked and running, so I could unplug it, but there is a feature on the BYD where you can lock the charger if you're going to go away from the car. All right, so let's put all this back in, then shut the gate. Cool. And that is my charge session done with the BYD Seal, its first drink. And then back in the car, unplugged, 80%. It's telling me 511 kilometers of range, but yeah, I don't know if I can trust that anymore given the range test we did. That's based on the manufacturer's estimated range. Okay, so then back to the Evie app, gives you some more stats. For the session today, I paid $35.29. Full details, I paid with PayPal, and it was 35 minutes. So started at 12:05 p.m., ended at 12:40 p.m. Got me from 16% to 80%, as you saw. Plug type CCS2, took almost 35 minutes, and energy added was 58.822 kilowatt hours. Okay, so you're probably wondering, how does this compare to, say, a ICE vehicle or internal combustion engine vehicle? Having paid $35.29 for 58.822 kilowatt hours, which with an efficiency of 16 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, with my recent range test, you can get 367 kilometers of range. Now, I'm going to be very generous with this because I'll favor the ICE car just for comparison's sake. So let's say you've got a really efficient sedan running at 6 liters per 100 kilometers. So if you had a range of 367 kilometers, at that efficiency, 6 liters per 100 kilometers, paying say $1.80 per liter of petrol at the moment, that's what I'm seeing the prices are at the moment. Let's just say you're paying premium or a higher grade of petrol versus say E10. Then you'll be paying about $39. So it's still a bit cheaper at the moment charging an EV using a public DC fast charger. Now, with the caveat that DC fast chargers generally are a bit more expensive because you are paying for the convenience of it being faster to get you back on the road if you're doing a road trip. If you were to charge this at home, and I'll do a separate home charging test and price comparison, then it's a heck of a lot cheaper because you're paying much less for your electricity bill than you are at a public DC fast charger. For example, at this location, it's 60 cents per kilowatt hour, and that's apparently due to rise as well very soon. Evie have publicly said that their charges are rising across their network. So 60 cents per kilowatt hour, that's pretty expensive. Most people pay around 20 to 30 cents for a flat tariff at home. And if you're lucky enough to have a cheaper tariff at home, like I'm paying, I think at the moment, 10 cents per kilowatt hour overnight charging, then today's session would have been 1/6 of the cost charging at my place versus charging here at a public DC fast charger. So keep that in mind when you are doing your sums. I would rarely use a DC fast charger, only when demonstrating for YouTube Or if I'm going on a road trip with the family, then I've got no other choice. I want to get back on the road quickly. That's what I'm paying for, the convenience of a public DC fast charger. Otherwise, I'd be charging at home 95% of the time. So here is a plot of the BYD Seal's charge curve compared to some of the other EVs I've tested over the years. Please note this is my own data, which I recorded when I personally charged each of these cars. So the BYD Seal's plot is in red, as you can see there, and it is on the slower side compared to the other vehicles I've tested. It is, however, faster than the BYD Atto 3 in green. And the question we asked initially was, can the BYD Seal charge from 30% to 80% in 26 minutes, as the BYD website claims? And if you look back at my times, the answer is yes, it can. At 12:13 it was 30%, and at 12:39 it was 80%, which means that's exactly 26 minutes. Please note this time only applies to the BYD Seal Premium and Performance trims in Australia. The base model, Seal Dynamic, has a slower DC charge rate. Alright everyone, thanks so much for watching. Now you know how fast it takes to charge a BYD Seal using a DC fast charger. That'll help you with your trip planning. Thanks so much for watching. Until the next Ludicrous feed video, happy charging.